All right, we are recording and we're going to get started, everyone. First of all, thank you all for being here. I'm going to do a very quick intro. I'm not going to be speaking today. It's going to be our incredible guest speaker, and I'm so excited. But I wanted to welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. My name is Lori Ellis. I have the privilege of introducing Sam Tran. And this is going to be, you're going to be so glad you're here. Let me tell you that for sure. I want to read his bio very quickly. I know I posted it in the flyer, but I want to read it in case some of you aren't aware of his background, because it's that impressive and it warrants me reading that. If that's okay, if you would allow me a couple of seconds to just give you this bio. Sam Tran is a clinical scientist. He has spent over 2 decades working in research. Sam studied laboratory medicine at the University of Washington in Seattle. He ran the clinical pathology lab at Amgen, working in pathology and toxicology departments while focused primarily on hematology, clinical chemistry, coagulation, and automation. And Sam now focuses on, this is where I get really excited, Sam now focuses on helping clients achieve true health via understanding more about prevention of disease. So isn't that incredible? So thank you, Sam, for being here. I want to start with a couple of questions, and you can either decide to answer the questions or start with however you wanted to start. But I wanted to ask these questions. Why is Kangen valid scientifically? And how were you introduced to Kangen? And then you can start with either those questions or wherever you'd like to start.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Lori, for hosting this event. There's many papers that you can research on Kangen, but for me, it's valid because I actually knew about it when it came to, because my degree is in laboratory medicine with specialty in medical technology. So I would help set up all these laboratories and bring in different pieces of, $100,000, $200,000 pieces of equipment to analyze all the blood samples. And so I knew about medical technology. So when this came to America, I think in 2001 or something like that, somewhere around that time, I knew about it, but I was already in my field. I was already in my career, and I just thought this was just a water filter. But it's valid because I had denied the water for so long. And then for me, it's very simple. I used to play basketball every Monday night, and I would be sore on Tuesday morning and most likely Wednesday morning too. Like just walking down the stairs, you feel the aches. And then I stopped drinking my Gatorade and I drank the gallon of water that I finally took from a friend of mine. And I drank that water and I wasn't sore on Tuesday. And that led me to have an experience. And from that experience, I went and started researching. I'm like, what the heck is this company? What is this doing to my body? Because I had never considered that, water would be such a key role, But let me share something with you. As I started to research, being a science nerd, all of us that geek out sometimes, we are private investigators almost, So I started to look online as far as what this was called scientifically, and I'm going to share something of you guys here. Oh, can you allow me to share there, Lori?
Oh, yes, I think I can. How do I do that?
Yeah, so
I just did it.
Okay, good. Okay, let me share screen here. Good, perfect. Okay. So let me go back, and this paper right here. This was the paper that really got me down the rabbit hole, basically. I looked it up. I found out that it was called electrolyzed reduced water. It's called reduced water. Reduced doesn't mean it was on sale. Reduced means it has electrons to donate, that's redox, oxidation and reduction reactions. And so I started reading this paper, and the first thing I noticed was, wait a minute, how come all these authors are like Japanese names? And I read the research paper and I looked at all the diagrams and then, so you guys can look up this paper too, but at the end of this is all these references, and I was such a nerd that I actually went in and clicked on these references, and I read probably about 10 of these papers before I said, what the heck am I doing? I already know that it works. I'm already drinking the water. Why am I sitting here reading all these research papers, right? And so that's how I found it to be valid, because there, I figured out that, that's kind of weird, because science should be like math. 1 + 1 = 2 in America, and 1 + 1 = 2 should be the same in Japan. But apparently all the scientific education I went through in America here, we never discussed water, right? And they do science in Japan. Matter of fact, they do a lot of engineering and science. I mean, some of the best engineering is in Japan, right? Some of the best scientists are in Japan. And so I say, well, why is there this standard here? And why was I not aware of this science? And if I was not aware, was I being shown everything, or was I just kind of given a menu to choose from, but not the full menu? So that's what got me down the rabbit hole. But ultimately, it is. Let me bring this up here. So ultimately, it's valid because of this. Because all we're doing is we're applying electricity to water. We're not applying some new small molecule or some new, RNA or DNA technology. We're applying electricity, and I think everyone understands that electricity is a valid concept, right? It's a valid thing, right? So when we apply electricity via these medical grade, 99.97% pure titanium plates, and those plates don't rust ever, right? And so when we apply electricity to these, we're pulling minerals that we normally get from our fruits and vegetables into the alkaline water, right? The water, it falls from the sky. The planet cleans it for us, falls from the sky, and it runs through all these rocks and minerals, and it picks up things, and it's a universal solvent. So it picks up minerals. And so water has minerals. That's what all the other animals drink on the planet. And so basically what we're doing is we're concentrating, we're doing electrolysis, and we're concentrating the minerals, iron, sodium, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and other minerals that are positively charged, that are alkalizing, and then it comes out the Kangen water, right? And at the same time, we're producing active hydrogen, and there's studies on, and I did all this research too. So there's this research here too. Let me open this up here. So there's research on the beneficial biological effects and underlying mechanism of molecular hydrogen. Comprehensive review of 321 original articles. So you don't have to read all 321 original articles, but it's a good sleeper. You can look at this research paper, and it pretty much lists out how it works, why it works, and all the different disease indications it's been tested on. And look at the authors again. Look at the authors again. And that's what the big aha moment for me was, like, hey, maybe we're not being told, maybe I wasn't being told the whole story here. Because how come all these Japanese people know about it, but not me? Right? And I was always in admiration of the Japanese culture and how they take care of their elders, how they have it's such a densely popular. Like, I went to Japan, I went to Tokyo a couple of times, and there's a lot of people in Tokyo, but everything runs on time. There could be 10,000 people crossing the sidewalk, and as soon as the light changes, like, the street's empty and people start driving their cars again, and bullet trains were on time. So I was mesmerized. I was amazed by how efficient that society was. And I looked at their healthcare system too. They don't have many of the lifestyle diseases that we have. So they must have a different kind of modality or a different kind of approach to what they're doing. So for me, the only reason why I'm associated, or I would dare associate my name with this company, is because the science is there. And then on top of it, I found out that it was, not found out, but I quickly realized that, hey, this thing is a medical device. It has the ISO 13485. And I don't think anyone ever really pays attention to that in the NAGIC, but being a medical technologist, being a clinical scientist, I was very keen because all the equipment that I brought into the lab had to have that same certification. And so I was looking at this water filter. It's like, why does this water filter have the same certification as a $250,000 blood analyzer? That makes no sense. It's kind of like finding that my Toyota Prius has the DNA of a F1 Formula race car. It doesn't make any sense, And so that's when I said, hey, there's something to this, And I started looking at the engineering. I started looking at electron microscope, photographs of the plates and how much, and the purity of titanium and platinum. And I was like, this is amazing. So how come no one knows about this? And so that's why, it's valid in my mind, because they actually use it in Japan. I don't think the USA anymore is a standard or beacon of for a beacon of light in the world for many things. Financially, I don't think most of the world kind of trusts the financial banks in America, right? But they do trust the integrity of Japanese culture, So that's why I started gravitating to science outside the U.S., And but I hope that explains. But I think so. That was and then I started looking at this is Google Scholar, So Google Scholar, you can look up electrolyzed reduced water, and there's only like 55,800 results on this topic right? So 55,000 results. And so electrolyzed reduced water scavenges active oxygen species and protects DNA from oxidative damage, And for me, working in cancer research, cancer is an oxidative stress disease, And so the second one, the electrolyzed reduced water protects against oxidative damage to DNA, RNA, and proteins, And look at all the authors. It's so interesting that many of these authors are in other countries, Hamasaki, Yang, Huang, Kim, and I'm like, this is interesting. How come it's all over there, but not in my awareness, not in my consciousness, So that was, and then I also went to PubMed, Published Medicine. It's a National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information. So PubMed.gov, and you can look it up too. Electrolyzed reduced water, antiviral effects of ERW on SARS-CoV-2. I'm like, so it's right in front of our faces. We were never directed to go look there. But me as a nerd, and very inquisitive person, like I need to have complete understanding before I associate my name to something, right? Because it's my professional reputation, right? And then that's how I got, that's how it's valid. But how I got introduced to it, was that the second question, Lori?
Yes.
Yeah, how I got introduced to it, I had, like at 38 or so, I started to hate Mondays. I started to love Fridays. Wednesday was hump day, and then TGIF, go get a few beers with my friends on Friday. And I started to fall into this routine, do laundry on Sunday night, watch a little football, and then go to bed early and get ready for work on Monday. And I said, that's so weird, because I was having this lack of fulfillment in my life. And so it's a midlife crisis. I didn't get divorced and, get a new wife and a little red convertible or anything. So I'm still married. What I did was I started skateboarding and I became a ski instructor. And on one of those outings, I was skateboarding with my kids. I was longboarding. I went down a pretty big hill and leaned back and got some speed wobble and fell and hit my head and went to a coma. So I was only in a coma for the better part of a day, but after experiencing, what I felt was heaven there, I came out of a coma, and that really shifted my awareness, shifted my perspective on life. Life is a gift. It shouldn't be played with. It shouldn't be messed around with. Life, like every day that we're breathing, is a gift, right? And I started to take my life more seriously. And so, I luckily my company Amgen had announced that they were going to do layoffs in August of 2014. And so I got my injury June of 2014, so 2 months prior. So it was serendipitous that they were going to lay off and shut down the research facility. They offered me a job down in California to go and help them start up a new research facility down there. I went down there and they didn't want to follow the company around because I was already on this awakening or spiritual journey now. I didn't want to be a scientist anymore. And so I took a year and a half off and kind of like did some other things. I did some life insurance. I became a life insurance agent because I had to buy a life insurance policy, to protect my family. I almost lost my life. So, and then that's where I met Wendy in the life insurance company, because she comes from finance. So she asked me to go meet Chisako and check out this water demo, And when I saw the water demo, specifically when I saw them put the 11.5 into the sesame oil, like my mind was just like, they could tell that the wheels were turning in my head, trying to figure out what the heck was going on there. I was like, you just broke the laws of, organic chemistry or physics or some kind of law, right? And I couldn't figure it out. And so that's when I went back and tried to shoot holes in this thing. Oh, you're using some kind of special detergent there. You wouldn't drink it, and then she drank it, and then I was like, okay, well, that kind of rules that out, So I was searching, but and the more that I looked into it, and I just decided that this is what I want to spend my time and my career doing, was getting the truth out, because I didn't want to, I'm one of these crazy guys that goes into science thinking that I would make a big impact. I didn't go into science to make millions or billions of dollars. I went to science to play my role and to play a part in the discovery of something big that would help change the course of humanity. That's why I went to science. And so I got disenfranchised. I just over the years, I just kind of got to know that it's a business. Just like any other business, car manufacturers, they sell cars to make money. Drug companies make pills to make money. Coca-Cola sells Coca-Cola to make money. It's an economy. I don't hate profit. I love profit. I love economy, right? But in every economy, we have to know that debt has to be created. And one of my friends during the financial crisis explained this to me. I asked him, hey, how are things going in China? Because during the 2008 financial crisis, everything was like, money was frozen, right? And he said, oh, it's doing great in China. I'm like, how are they doing so great in China? I thought everything was frozen. There was no more lending. He said, no, Sam, it's doing great because the government is lending money to people. And that creates debt. And debt creates an economy. And I was like, whoa, do you think that's the same thing that's happening in healthcare? Is there a healthcare debt? So it's like, so we don't have diabetes unless we have an overabundance of sugar or processed food. Like we don't have obesity unless we have a lot of processed food. So is there a lot of processed food in America? Yes. Is there a lot of sugar in America? Yes. So as a result of all that excess, we have this crisis called lifestyle diseases, right? And so it's a personal choice. I didn't want to be a part of that. And so I said, no, I got to find something else different to do. And so that's why I focus my career and my life and my time now to get this information out to the people that are ready. Just like me, it took me going into a coma to have a wake up moment. But I hope that, by sharing the information with people, that they get to their aha moment or their light bulb moment without having some medical crisis attached to some medical bills and medical debt, because I think we're all going to get to a certain level of consciousness at some point, but hopefully it doesn't come at a high price. hopefully someone could just tell you some kind words or share some information with you and have your aha moment, and that's how I came into it. And so I wouldn't recommend going to a coma, but that's essentially how I came into it. But hopefully that makes a lot of sense. I'm a bit of a chatterbox.
It's all great information. I mean, I love having this conversation because I think sometimes for people it does take something like that where and it did for me 23 years ago in my own personal story. It took a moment of going, wait a minute, what I'm doing doesn't seem to be working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my health journey started. And so we have that moment of, if I keep going down this road. So what we have, I think the perfect time right now, I think we have the perfect time to be able to be introducing this to people, because
Yes.
I think people are more aware than ever and present in the fact that, they want to be well, they see the things that aren't working well. People get to a certain age as well where they start to think it's aging, and that's my big message, is it's not age. It's, what have we been giving the body? What have we been doing in our lifestyle? And we can turn that around.
Yeah.
But I think it's the perfect timing. So how do you share this with people? What words do you say? I know a lot of people want to know how to introduce it and make sure that they're using compliant language. And, the studies are great because you're bringing it back to electrolyzed reduced water. So it's not, making a claim on using the trademark name. But how do you do that?
So I initially when I saw the phrase "change your water, change your life," first of all, I thought that was kind of corny and kind of funny, but now it's actually real, right? Now I actually believe it, right? But then being a nerd, being a scientist, I focus on the water. So I was all about water and explaining every property and essentially doing all these research studies, not research studies, but sharing all these research studies with people. And then all that got me was more science questions. Like I was like, I could answer all the questions, but I'm like, what am I like? Literally, people were getting caught up in the way that I was caught up. They were trying to like science this thing up, and I tell them, science is there to help us explain how things work in the world, right? Science is a tool that we use to understand the world. Science is not a religion, okay? But in this world, science has become a religion, right? It's you got to follow the science, Sam. It's like, no, I don't. When the science is faulty, I don't need to follow the science, because I'm going to look with my eyes, right? I'm gonna feel my body, and that's what we need. We need to get back to that, actually seeing results, because all the science and all the medication in our society, we have a lot of medication in our society, right? We have a lot of well-trained doctors and great hospitals, but how come most of our diseases we still suffer from them? It didn't make sense to me. We have all the great scientists. I mean, people send their children from other countries to get their PhDs in this country, right? So how come we're the smartest? We've got the best technology. We're the best here, right? How come we have gout? Like that like rockets are taking off by themselves and landing too now, right? And cars are driving themselves, and this thing has more processing power than the Apollo moon rockets or whatever, right? What they went to the moon with, supposedly, right? And how come how come my friends are still sitting here with like, health issues? It doesn't make any sense. How could we progress so much? And so that's why it didn't add up in my mind, And so I started, I started doing my research. But how I explain this is I don't really talk about the water much anymore. I talk about hey, how's your life going? How are the kids? Like have you been to Hawaii? Like have you seen have you taken any great hikes lately? I talk to people about life. And
Hey,
so
Sam,
yes.
we have a request to stop screen sharing. Can you do
Oh,
that?
yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. There we go. Okay. So you guys know I ski a lot. I'm always posting ski videos and stuff like that. Like I think I've skied 25 days this season. And so the season is only 2 months old, right? 60 days old, but I've skied 25 of those days already, right? Because I'm using this tool as a way to have a lifestyle. That's what I'm using this tool for. So if it was a tool of me doing 6-pack abs or drinking a protein shake that could actually deliver all this, I'd probably be doing that too, right? But I already drink water, right? I just didn't want to. I didn't want to pay Coca-Cola for my water, and so I use this as a college degree, I guess. You know, you can go to college for 4 years and pay, you know, 100 grand, 200 grand, and you get a little certificate that says, please hire me. And then work 40 years. And then someday you'll get on a cruise at a senior discount. Well, I'm already using this to get on a cruise, you know, and that's how I'm using it to, you know, live my life, you know. And I basically ask people about their life now. If they want to get into the science, I'll send them a link and I'll say, make sure you read all the research papers before you drink a glass. Right? And they're like, what are you talking about? There's 55,000 articles here. Well, I said, well, some people need to read a lot of articles before they drink a glass, right? Or make a lifestyle change, you know? And, you know, it's just, there's people that are praying and wishing on, you know, they're praying at night for something like this, something simple to come into their life to make a big difference. And this has made the biggest difference in my life. And I was already doing it. I just traded this for this. Right? I only buy these to do demos now. I don't drink these anymore, you know? And so it just freed my mind to go and live. And then, you know, learning about the business, about how to share. And so, you know, and then that's how I share with people. I sit next to them. I go, how are you doing? Like, what do you do for a living? You know, and so I've sold a machine sitting next to someone on an airplane because they don't want the device. They want their life back. That's what they want. You know, they don't want water. They want their life. And this is just a replacement for me. This is like literally a replacement for my college degree because I don't use my college degree anymore. Right? A college degree just got me a good job. I don't want a job. I want a life. You know, so that's the conversation. So we have to get away from all this science and all this medical stuff because, you know, even me, that's why I tell people I'm a recovering scientist. You know, it's a 12-step process. You know, so I have meetings every Monday. So, you know, but so you know, that's how I share it. I really get to know someone, kind of find out what their dreams and goals are, and I say, I have something that you should look at, that you should really investigate. You know, you have to look past the water. You have to look past the, you know, the MLM or the network marketing thing. Look past it, because, you know, at the end of, no, I lost my dad in 2019. So I was in charge of putting together his slideshow, right? Everyone's a slideshow at the end of their life, right? So I know that the way that I live my life, it's going to be a fantastic slideshow, right? And at the end of my life, I'm going to be a slideshow at a funeral home. Now I'll be the guy in the box, but it'll be a slideshow. But I want to live a certain way that I have some great pictures that my family will be able to choose from to live my life. I mean, to share my life. And that's what it is, you know? And so I really got past this idea that I can be judged, or this fear of being judged, you know, because I was already in a coma. I've got the scar on the back of my head right here, right? I've got the x-rays. And so, you know, so I don't really worry about the judgment of people on this planet. You know, I worry about the judgment of my maker. That's it. You know, if I'm walking the right path or not. And so that really freed me when I got to that point, you know. So, but yeah, just that's why that's why, Lori, we're all kind of fanatics, right? We're all kind of crazy about water, and oh, here comes the water guy again, right? But if the world is crazy, if the world is upside down or topsy-turvy, you have to be upside down to that world. If it's normal to be diabetic, I'm the one that's not going to be diabetic. If everyone's lost, I'm going to know where I'm going. So you have to be comfortable with knowing your direction and where you're going, right? And the thing about being a trailblazer, you're always going to get criticized, no matter what. Even drinking water, you're going to get criticized, you know. And so, you remember when all these when all the YouTube videos came out and people, kids were doing YouTube things like then they're trying to make money on YouTube. Well, now the YouTube kids are making pretty good money, and we're like, darn it, why didn't I start way back then? Because it took some risk to be a trailblazer. It took some risk to be a trailblazer. And so I don't think there's much risk in drinking water. I just really don't think so. Yeah, my friends that drink Coca-Cola, or my friends that drink Dasani, is like, oh, you're one of those crazy guys that brings your bottle everywhere. I said, yeah, that's about the limit of my craziness, but I'm not going to be one of these people that are like, not living life to the fullest, right? And so that's just, it's a mentality you have to get to be able to share, and people can tell your authenticity. People can tell your passion. If you're just regurgitating, if you're just, it has this, and you name out the properties, then you sound like a salesman. But I tell people from the heart. I said, I live for real, and that's the best thing that we can do, is just be authentic, and yeah, so hopefully that's a good answer there.
It's so good. It's so good. Everybody's smiles are so big, and the comments, the chat is just lighting up because people are so excited to hear this, because you're absolutely, I mean, I love everything that you're saying. So you're getting to know the person, you're talking about them, you're finding out what it is that they need, and then you're talking about lifestyle and what do they love to do and how do they want to live their life, and right. And so you're driving the discussion to health and
Yes.
prevention and the dream of living without pain, living the way that you want, all those things that people want, all the things that people are suffering, like you said, people are on their knees, they're praying for something, they're suffering, they want something to help them. You're taking them to that discussion of health and the dream of their life, which is bypassing objections, bypassing any need to worry about studies or compliance or things like that, correct?
Yeah. I try to skip the whole thing. I mean, I can get deep into it with any doctor out there, any pharmacist or technologist or engineer. I can get knee deep into anything. We could waste a lot of time, but ultimately my life doesn't depend on the degrees on the wall. My life depends on how many moments I take my breath away. That's what it depends on. It doesn't credentials, where you went to school, my alma mater, who cares? Like that doesn't end up on your slide deck at the end of your life, where you went to school. It really does not end up there. You have lots of pictures of your kids, the vacations you went to Disneyland, like the Hawaii trips, like the time you jumped out of an airplane. It has life stuff. It doesn't have all these materialistic, if the time you had 6-pack abs, well, it doesn't matter. And so that's what we have to get back to. We have to get back to that life thing, especially after this pandemic, when the world was locked up and we didn't see people for like 2.5 years. I think a lot of people got to this point in life where they're like, what am I here for? Like, why am I on this planet? So it's a great time to have that discussion. Why are you here? Are you here to just work and pay bills? Because that seems like that's what everyone else is doing. And so I got to this point where I said, no, I'm here for a higher purpose, something more than just work and pay bills. I didn't. My parents brought me to this country. We were refugees from Vietnam. We came over here after the Vietnam War, right? And so we left a communist country. Now, I guarantee you, they did not bring me over to America to just work and pay bills. Because if I just wanted to work and pay bills, I should have just stayed in Vietnam. You know, we have certain freedoms in this country, and so we have to protect those freedoms, and we have to protect our health, right? Like, I know that health used to be the original wealth. Before gold, before diamonds, before money, before, you know, the iPhone 14 or 13 status, or before, you know, people had Teslas. Like, if you could outrun the animal that was about to eat you, you were wealthy. You know, if you could hunt and you could gather food and sustain your life, you were wealthy. And the person that couldn't hunt and couldn't keep themselves healthy, well, you know, nature you know, took its course. And so we're going back to original here. The original wealth is your health. And I think that's become more evident because of this pandemic that we've gone through, right? And so, but Lori, as you can tell, I'm like pretty, I say phrases and people are like, man, you got to get these down, Sam. Like, you got to write a book or something. And I don't know where it comes from.
You do have to write. I mean, I've been writing, you know, when we spoke before, and I've been writing now too, but I've been writing things down. One thing you said that really stuck with me is you said, because a lot of people are worried about objections. They're worried about, you know, bringing up information, not being able to handle an objection or a question. And I think, you know, what you're helping us to do is to remember to keep it simple, to keep it about the lifestyle, to keep it about the freedom that is available to everyone if we make the choices to go back to, you know, keeping it simple. Example, I haven't purchased laundry detergent in 9 years. I mean, how much simpler is that? I don't have to go and buy it and lug it home, and right. But something that you said that really stuck with me, and I wrote this down: objections come out of confusion. So what you're saying is so fantastic and so magnificent, because you're bringing it back to taking away all the confusion and just, how do we want to live? How do you want your life, your slideshow? I love that so much. I wrote that down too. What do you want your slideshow to look like?
Yeah.
You know, and it just stops all of the confusion. And so objections come out of confusion. So in a practical sense of when we're, you know, talking about this and we're answering questions and we're doing the presentations, we can avoid, through sharing the way that you're showing us how to do that and the words to say, and of even having to worry about that, because there won't be any confusion because you're addressing that up front.
Yeah, you know, because a lot of people, like, because I you know, because I am a recovering scientist, people always ask me, hey, what will this do for this condition? Well, my uncle has this, and will it help him? My mom has that, and will it help her with this? And so I'm like, okay, well, let's look at like root cause analysis. Okay, so if you go out to your car in the morning and you have a flat tire, okay, and you need to go somewhere, right? So the first thing you would do, well, I need to put more air in the tire, right? Because I'll immediately solve the problem, right, of a flat tire. So you can actually get to your work or appointment, right? But then the next morning, right, you go out there and the tire's flat again. Second day in a row, right? So the answer there would be to have the compressor plugged in and ready to go, you know, and have it on a timer so it's already pressurized, so you could fill your tires with air, so you could leave leave for work on time. That's the answer. I don't think so. I think we should look at the tire and see if there might be a nail or screw in there or something else wrong with the tire, because tires don't normally lose air pressure overnight, right? Or your car battery drains. So there must be something draining your car battery, because you leave it there for 2 days and the car won't start. So that's what I do. I sit there and I look and I root cause analysis everything. Right? It's kind of OCD or something like that, but we have to. Right? We have to literally do the work, do the investigational work, as opposed to just having a patch, having a Band-Aid. And so we've been sold this Band-Aid in our modern society. We've been sold the Band-Aid of drive-through food. We've been sold this convenience. Convenience is a Band-Aid, right? Convenience saves us time. And so you can't really save time. You can only prioritize things. Right? You can't really box time. I can't go to Fred Meyer or Safeway and get a 12-pack of time. It doesn't work like that. You know, but I have to be able to, you know, conduct my life in a way that I can avoid certain times, like sick times. I definitely want to avoid sick times. And so what do I do to avoid that whole situation? You know, maybe I eat healthier. Maybe I sleep 8 hours. Maybe I go get sunshine. Maybe I exercise instead of just take 2 of these, call me in the morning. You know, so we in our society, we've gotten to such a lazy point, I guess, that we are not willing to do the work anymore. Even being healthy is work, right? I know, Laura, you work out all the time, right? So being healthy, being fit is work. People don't want to do the work. They just want to get the little electrolytes thing and just shock their stomach muscles while they're watching TV, and pretty soon they have like overdeveloped stomach muscles because they they put little sticky things on their stomach. You know, people don't want to do the work. You know, but there's no shortcuts. You know, people might take some shortcuts, but it comes with a side effect. You know, yeah, you could eat McDonald's once in a while, but you eat it every day. If you get addicted to the convenience, then you're going to have some cholesterol issues or some heart issues, and that's just that's a side effect, but it's a direct effect of your lifestyle choices. You know, so whether that be financially or health wise, no, if we always spend more than we make, we're gonna have debt. That's just, you know, you could reverse engineer that. You know, but I think we just have to take ownership of our, you know, there's no more, you know, like I don't plan to take any more drugs of any kind, you know, because my drug is life. My drug is outdoors. My drug is sunshine. My drug is like going skiing on a Wednesday. That's my drug, you know. So it's a matter of, I think it's a matter of ownership in our society, and I think people are ready to own their life. You know, they're not, I think people are pretty fed up with like having their life on layaway, basically. You know, I don't know if the young kids know what layaway is. So, I don't know, did I go off topic there?
No, it's so good. It's everything is just awesome. I love all of it. I'm thinking we should open it up to questions. I know Patrick is monitoring if people want to raise their hands, or if they want to. Yeah, the comments are, everybody's so excited in the chat. Like, this is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for everything you're saying. Do you want to go ahead and open it up to questions, Sam? Are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a rapid
Okay,
fire.
I think we're gonna have to do it in the chat because somehow the hand raising icon didn't get turned on here.
Oh, okay. Or can, yeah,
So,
let's.
So one of the first questions I always get asked is, hey, doesn't your body just neutralize all this anyways, and it doesn't really have an impact, right? And I said, well, by that same theory, you could drink all the Coca-Cola you want and there will be no impact. You could eat all the Twinkies you want and there'll be no impact. No, there's always, you know, everything has limits. You know, people know that, you know, like your patience, you know, we can all be very patient people, but there are limits to our patience, right? There are some point where we just get mad at someone because our patience ran out, right? And so, you know, your bank account definitely has limits. Okay, your gas tank has limits, right? So we know about limits, and so our body actually has limits too. You know, if you put 200 pounds on me, I could probably carry it for a few hours, but I can't carry it for 24 hours. It's like my body's gonna get worn out. And so chemically it's the same thing, right? If I'm always putting acidic things onto this pickup truck of a body right here, right? If I put a Coca-Cola every day for 20 years onto this body, yeah, my body's going to compensate for the first 5 or 10 years. And then after that, the compensation system is going to start to wear out. And that's when you start having issues. Your body can't handle it. That's what disease is. When you start having acid reflux or gout, that's because your body can't clear the acid anymore, right? Well, it can't keep up with how much is coming in. So it has to store it somewhere. And so it stores in your joints. It stores the uric acid in your joints. So if you really want to clear that stuff out, you gotta quit the Coca-Cola, and you gotta drink something that has some alkalizing minerals in it, right? To restore that balance, to restore that homeostasis. In science, we call that homeostasis. That's the chemical balance inside your body, to balance the temperature and things like that, balance chemical reactions, so that's and people don't understand, because our society is so far down. Like we're studying the pine needles, in the forest. Meanwhile, we're ignoring the forest fire. That's what science has become. We're down at the genetic level. Meanwhile, someone can't walk. It's just so weird that we're that far down into science. So
that's a great analogy. Studying the pine needles and ignoring the forest fire. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you want to do it verbally,
okay,
say you do in the chat, and I'll get you turned on here.
Okay, so someone throw a question out there. Commonly asked questions that you always get challenged with at presentations. Janine,
I'll ask one, Sam.
Okay, go ahead.
How about if I start off here?
Okay.
Wikipedia.
Okay.
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience. Okay.
They lead off with that. How in the world are people supposed to look and find the right answers to this stuff?
Yeah. So pseudoscience in my world, how I look at science in general, science is a theory. Science is a hypothesis. It's an educated guess. It's not facts until it's observed, proven, and can be replicated, right? So when I drink this water, I used to get migraine headaches. So I'm not making any health claims. I used to get migraine headaches, and then I started drinking this water, and I don't get migraine headaches anymore. I can't explain it scientifically, right? But all I know is that when I'm well hydrated, I don't get migraine headaches. So do I even need science? Because science is there to help me understand how something works. I just have something that works. I don't need the explanation, right? So in my mind, science is down at the molecular level, at the gene level, at the RNA, DNA level, trying to explain the forest fire. And I'm sitting here saying, hey, I see a bunch of smoke. It looks like a forest fire. Maybe we should clear out. And so we're not having the same conversation, And so
okay. Yeah, Brianna asks, I have people tell me PubMed is nonsense.
Okay, well, they can argue with the U.S. government about, about the National Institute of Health about that, because maybe that's their thinking. That's their thinking that science doesn't exist, right? All science is bad. Well, I'm like, well, then I don't know. Just like I validate different resources, and I actually validate it by use, and then I stick my name to it. I don't just read some research paper and say, oh, because so-and-so said the research paper is true. Well, how research, why they call it research? Because you have to redo it. Like paint. Yeah. So one time I got really frustrated because science is very, you do 1,000 experiments, and then you get one experiment that works. And then that leads to another 10 more questions, and you keep on having to do another 10,000 experiments. That's how science is. It's like a professional guessing. And I got so tired of guessing. I said, I'm an engineer. I think like an engineer. If this, I need to understand how this thing works. That's how us scientists are, right? And so I got really frustrated, and my boss told me one time, Sam, why are you frustrated with science? I said, because it doesn't work. Like I'm controlling my variables. You know, I have all my reagents, and I do this thing, and it's supposed to do this, but it doesn't, right? And so I was like, but she said, well, that's why they call it research, Sam. It's not called search. It's called research. Oh, so I said, oh, you mean like paint and repaint? Like do and redo? No, I'm here to do. I'm not here to redo something. So she got it very clear that I have a different thinking. Like, you know, at my work, I was always known as the troubleshooter. And all I would do is I go in and I get rid of the trouble. Like I would eliminate the trouble. It's like, hey, this machine's having this problem. How long has it had the problem? How much does it cost to fix that problem? Well, okay, that much? Okay, get rid of the machine, get a new one. Problem solved. Right? And so we have to get to this point where we actually solve the problem. We just don't keep treating it. Right? And we're okay. We're okay with like going to all sorts of different people and 10 different suggestions later, like a health journey, a 10-year health journey later, and you're still dealing with the same issue. I don't know why we're okay with that. You know? And so
when I was in industry, Sam, they told me, don't fix it, just keep it running.
Yeah.
Isn't that quite a concept?
Yeah. Yeah. But if someone's making money off of that fixing all the time, you know, because they're the repairman, then there's a motivation there, you know.
Okay, we have several questions about stomach acid, and I could answer them, but I want you to.
Okay. So yeah, so stomach acid, so your body makes stomach acid on demand. Okay, so you don't have this bag of acid, you know, hydrochloric acid sloshing around your stomach like 24/7, eating, making ulcers and stuff like that, right? So when you eat something, your body will make, you know, acid in the stomach on demand. In order to make that acid, it has to make the base, the corresponding base, because it's a chemical reaction, right? Every reaction has a forward reaction and a back reaction. It has an equal sign. It has to be balanced, right? And so your body is this amazing system. So when you put an alkalizing, you know, when you put mineral water into your stomach, right, your stomach will adjust, right? It will be a net amount of alkalinity to the system, right? And it will help balance out, and the alkalinity will be used in another part, maybe to neutralize out acid in your joints or something like that, right? But it will make acid in the stomach to bring that pH back down to where it's safe and can kill germs, right? But people forget that your body is the most complex machine out there. They forget, right? It's so complex that you can get a cut on your hand and you'll grow new skin, right? It's got some form of function. It's not a robot in the sense. And so people forget that your body reacts, right? And so anything you put in will be either beneficial or detrimental to your body. And so all I know is that when I put this into my body, I don't have these symptoms or these issues that I had before. And that's all I want to know. I don't, you know, like, I don't, like, people ask me, oh, how does this work? I was like, have you ever used a microwave? Have you ever driven a car? Could you explain to me the combustion cycle of a car? Or could you explain to me how the microwave actually heats your soup? Like, all you care about is you get in your car and you go to your appointment. As long as you get there, it's nice and safe. It doesn't really matter, right? But this is even simpler. It's water. You're made of 75% of it, right? If you don't drink this stuff and you drink Coca-Cola every day, that's going to be, you know, that's going to be a health issue. And then you'll be asking, how come Coca-Cola doesn't make me healthy? I'm like, well, that's probably not a healthy drink, you know. But we have to get back to this kind of logic. You guys ever see that movie called Idiocracy? Idiocracy, right? it's a comedy, but it's become a documentary of society, right? And so they had this thing kind of like Gatorade, and they're, it's like a 500 years in the future, and the crops are all failing because they're watering their crops with Gatorade. And you talk to the president's council, and they said, well, it's got electrolytes, and all plants want electrolytes. And you're like, the guy said, you're using soft drinks on your plants. It just doesn't work, But we're getting to that point in our society where we're so far gone. We're so intelligent that we lack common sense. A lot of my friends are like very smart, MD, PhDs, like double degrees in physics and biochemistry. I'm like, you guys are like, I only have a 4-year degree, guys, right? And I tell them, like, you guys are so smart, like you guys are super intelligent, but you have no common sense, right? You're super intelligent, you drive the fastest car, but you don't know how to change a tire. That's where we're at in our society, right? And so sometimes when people ask me these type of questions, I'm like, get the fundamentals right first. It's just water. Why are you grilling me on water when you get that rainbow color frappuccino at Starbucks with no questions, 0 questions? Pumpkin spice, whatever latte in October. You really think they're squeezing pumpkins for whatever flavor? I don't think it's real pumpkin flavoring they're using. I think it's a chemical that smells and tastes like pumpkins. I really think that's what they're using. But you don't question that. But you're gonna grill me on water. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I put it back on people. It's like, what do you really want? You want simplicity, or you want the complex stuff?
Answer their question with a question.
If they're, because you can tell when someone's asking questions because they're really curious, or sometimes they're asking questions to shoot you down, right? You guys can tell, right? And so when they're asking those type of shoot you down questions, like pose a question back, let me understand your question and let me ask you a question back, right? Because we can get deep into this topic, but you're going to miss the forest. We're going to get into the pine needles and the chlorophyll and the photosynthesis and how the plant gets energy, but we're going to miss the fact that the forest is on fire, meaning that your knee has pain, right? Or you've got some condition. Do you want to understand this at the microscopic level, or you just want like to be pain-free?
Okay, I think you're going over some of this, Sam, that Ken is asking, and he's asking, what have you found to be a good method for helping break down the walls with someone who thinks they are fine and healthy? They don't need or want change. What do you have to wait for them to realize they need help? That's the main question.
Yes, sometimes you do, but remember that the interview, when you interview someone, when you meet someone new, you almost have to take an interest in them to find out where they are in their life. You can't just make a pitch, because the friendship is paper thin, right? It's as thin as a piece of paper here. And if you put a pitch like, hey, invest $5,000 in this device, well, there goes the friendship. Because there's very little trust there. And so you have to take it back to what is it that they're looking for. Everyone gets up in the morning for some reason. If you don't have a good reason to get out of bed, then you probably won't get out of bed. But most people get out of bed so they can earn money to pay bills, right? I think in America most people do that, right? And so what is it that you want? And then let's talk about that, but take it back to that as opposed to like taking that deep dive right away. And so I don't try to convince people. Like my friends now, they thought I was crazy for quitting my career and leaving, my 6-figure salary back in 2014 on the table. But I came to the realization that, I could have died at 42. That's when I went into a coma. I could have died then, and I didn't want to, wait until 65 and then start living then. And so I just made a conscious decision. I just made a totally conscious decision to go and live my life. And so now my friends ask me, hey, how it's Wednesday, like tomorrow I'll be teaching skiing. Today's Tuesday, right? So tomorrow I'll be teaching skiing and snowboarding and riding up on Stevens Pass. And they literally ask me, Sam, how is it that it's a Wednesday and you're snowboarding again? How is that possible? Right? And I said, well, if you really want to know, right? If you really want to know, I have some information to share with you, but only if you're serious, because I don't want to waste your time. I definitely don't want to waste my time with the people that are not serious. And there's a lot of serious people now, right? And there's always going to be tire kickers. There's going to be people that are just feeling it out. And then you just maintain the friendship and go, hey, is it okay if I follow up with you in 6 months? Or maybe call me, because this is going to come back into your life multiple times. Someone else is going to say it. But when you hear about it, when you see, when you see some athlete drink it or whatever, when you see some kind of social media thing on it, it'll come into your into your head, your awareness again. At that time, reach out to me, okay? If you get serious. But right now, I don't think it's your time yet. And so I really don't spend my time convincing people because it's too much work. I'd rather take someone that's on the fence and ready to tip over and get them going than to take a negative person or take a hard-headed person like me. It took me going to a coma to realize I didn't know anything. Right? That's how hard-headed I was. That's how educated I was. Right? And so I kind of try to avoid educated people now, just because I know how much work I was. But if you can convert one of those geeky scientists, they become hard-headed on your team. Right? That's the value of that. So and so now that's why I want to do these events and help you guys break through to the hard-headed people, right? Because I was one too, recovering. Okay, so
okay, we have 12 new messages I haven't even read yet. So Karen's asking, how does alkaline affect kidneys? And she says, I didn't know how to answer that. And I'm not sure we need to answer that.
Yeah. Well, every organ in your body is a filter, whether it's your liver, your lungs, your kidneys, your pancreas, whatever, your GI, right? Even your skin's a filter. And so if your kidneys are there to process water, wouldn't you want the cleanest water? And so it'd be less work on your kidneys? Or would you like to put like river water through your kidneys? Or would you like to put some kind of mixed drink or coffee and things like that through your kidneys, because it's going to be pressure and a load or a workload for your whole body to process that. I want to just live life with ease. I don't want to live life with dis-ease. Right? Dis-ease is what happens when you have too much problems going through, too much overload. And so there's ease and there's dis-ease. Okay. And so I don't want to have dis-ease. So therefore I put things that are clean into my body: clean air, clean food, clean water, clean thoughts, and things like that, nature, because I want my life to be easy. Right. And so, but they have to think about their organs as a filter first. Right. And their mind is a filter too. Right. And so I really think our mind has been polluted by a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo, basically. You know how they say a glass of wine is great for you, and it's got resveratrol, and it can help extend life. And then the next day, there's another study that, a glass of wine shortens your life by 5 years, and you're like, who do I believe? Well, confusion is part of the game. Confusion and never giving you the exact root cause is part of the game in our society, right? Because it's a business. I'm sorry to say this, and this might offend a lot of people in healthcare, but healthcare is a business. The hospital has to make money to pay your salary, right? Just like the car dealership has to make money to pay the car salesman, right? Just like Enagic has to make money to pay us our commissions. I mean, it's a business, but I feel so thankful to be a part of something that can actually deliver not only results for people, but environmental impact. Like I don't do much demos, but I think I buy like a case a year now of this. And so I used to buy, like, my kids used to play soccer. I used to buy like 2 cases of Costco water every week or something like that. And so it actually delivers like impact, so I don't know, did I get off topic again there, guys?
No, it's so good. It's so good. There's a lot of questions. One question that I'm reading right now is, what's the difference? This is a machine question. What's the difference in a K8 9.5 water? And this is the question from Janine Janicelli. It's the difference between 9.5 from a K8 and 9.5 from an SD501.
Okay, so the amount of electricity that can be delivered. And so if you look on the corporate website, I think, I forget what the maximum ORP that can be, the maximum number of electrons or negative charge that can be delivered, right? Because the only way that electron is going to get from the socket, the wall, is being transferred to those plates and then delivered in the water. And so that's the main difference. And obviously there's other features like, it remembers how much water has gone through the filter and touchscreen and all that stuff. But primarily the difference is just an 1/8 plate, one more plate that can deliver, what is, probably 12% more, I think 12 or 15% more electricity, basically, right? So that's the main difference. So there you go. Stronger ORP.
Excellent.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think we're about the end of the questions. There's
okay.
a lot of comments.
Yeah.
99.9% positive. So
Yeah, so I want to help people get to this, and that's especially help our distributors and then new users understand that what we're doing here is we're doing something that's extremely simple, right? Drinking water is pretty simple, right? It's much simpler. I think it's much simpler than going vegan. Going vegan, I mean, I tried that for a month and I think I made it 5 days before I wanted a steak or something like that. And so, yes, you should eat healthy, grass-fed and grow your own corn and all that stuff. But there's a compliance issue. There's an issue with like you keeping up with those habits. But as far as this habit of drinking water, that's something I already do. That's something my body has a craving for, this water, And so that's a people don't think it's a lifestyle change, but it is. It's probably the biggest impact lifestyle. It's the easiest and biggest impact that you can have on a person's body is to change their water. Right? Okay,
let's close out with this from Tracy. She's saying, what has been your best benefit of the water?
I think life. I think just the ability to control my own time. And that's more the and being healthy, obviously. I don't take any cholesterol pills. I don't take any high blood pressure pills, no diabetes. I used to take seasonal allergies, like, in the spring here in the Northwest, we have a lot of pollen. So every March or so, I'd be a walking pharmacy. I'd have eye drops and then nasal sprays, and then Claritin or something. So, and then a bunch of tissues. So I'd be a walking pharmacy, but I don't do any of that anymore. And it's just the strangest thing. And I recall that I used to drive the carpool van with my 2 kids and then 2 other kids. And I volunteered as the carpool dad, right? And I recall that I never called sick, right? Because if I had to call in sick, that means I would have to call 2 other families and they would have to rearrange and the kids would have to find another way to school. I never, like over 2 or 3 years, I never called sick once. I said, huh, what's going on here? There must be something with my immune system that's pretty strong somehow. Well, your immune system gets stronger when you get the toxins out. And that makes you healthy. You don't carry all these toxins. We have so much exposure every day, but I just don't carry them. I excrete them as the body is supposed to do. So we have to, I think that's the biggest benefit there. It's being healthy. It's the biggest wealth is being healthy. So
this is so good. This is just, we could sit here for another hour and I know everybody would love it. And I'm just so grateful. All of the comments are thank you, thank you. Everybody's wanting to know how to get in touch with you and follow you. And so everybody's wanting a copy of this recording. And so thank you so much. This has just been fantastic in every way. Everything you said is so valuable.
And I think we need to have this real talk, in our society, because I don't know, like we've just gone through a couple of years of all this scientific mumbo jumbo, and here we are, like, it's just another shot, another pill. It's like, that, and I'm like, no, we can't. Like, we already had too many before, and so they just want another layer. It's like, no, we need to do something else, And I was pretty vocal during the whole episode, but you kind of have to plant your flag somewhere. And I planted my flag in natural. I planted my flag in simple. I planted my flag in this company, this Japanese medical device, and it's going to take a lot for me to remove that flag. And so we have to just have conviction for what we're doing, because if we don't have conviction for what we're doing, we're gonna, the next fad thing that comes along, we're gonna latch onto that. And so, and so we have to have that conviction. And so I just speak from a place of conviction, because I was in a coma before. And so, if you guys, please don't go into a coma, like, try to wear a helmet if you're skateboarding, if you're skiing, wear a helmet. Buckle your seatbelt and stuff like that. But you can develop your conviction. Just validate what you're talking about, and then keep doing it. And the ones that were naysayers, they'll come around. Like one of the biggest questions I have is like, hey, is this is this an MLM, or is this network marketing, or is this something like that? And they always ask it with the tone of like to shoot me down. And I say, well, there are components of it that are MLM. I mean, you could build a team, but you don't have to. I mean, it's a direct, it's a direct company. It's a different way of distributing the product. And I ask them, well, how many more years do you have to work at your non-MLM job? And then I go silent, and then there's this awkward silence, and then they get to this aha moment. So I'm not building this for someone else. I'm building this for my family. I'm building this for my own life. And so it's a personal decision, but we have to get there to where we own our life, because most people, like, if it's Monday and you got to go somewhere at 8 a.m. and you don't want to go, then you really have to question if you own your life. Okay. And so all I know is, like, I'm getting up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning because I want to, because I'm going up there to teach some people how to snowboard tomorrow. And so you'll probably see me posting something about snowboarding tomorrow. So, all right, but take ownership, guys. This is our life. We only get one. Well, for me, I got a bonus, so.
And we're so glad you did. We're so glad you did. This is just fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. We all are writing notes, and we'll be watching this back and writing more notes. And I want to repeat your quote again that I love. The importance of this project is necessary for humanity.
Yes, it is. Right. So hopefully we can have this conversation, like maybe once a month or once a quarter or something like that. And then I think there's some videos out there that you guys would probably want some answers to and things like that. So we can address those.
Let's do it.
And then get a hold of me. Like I'm on Facebook and then Messenger and stuff like that. So, okay.
Well, thank you. You have such a great way of taking something that we would, I think so much of what we learned is a way to simplify, take it right back to, basic to simple to the root, and not get caught up in maybe a conversation that could get out of control. So thank you for taking that, what could be complicated, down to something very simple. I think that's really what I'm taking a lot from this. So,
and I think that's my, people have told me that like something changed in me after I came out of a coma. My personality changed. I still have all the science, but I have this, I don't know where it comes from, but I have this, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm tapped into this awareness or something like that. And I just speak and it comes through me. And I can explain science in layman's terms, right? Like pan back, like 30,000 foot view of our planet, as opposed to like, microscopic view. And so I have that range of understanding, and a lot of my scientific friends, they're just like, you say some things that are way out there, but when you really think about it, it's actually true. I said, well, it's not me. It's not, I'm not the source of all this stuff. It's just coming through me. It's just a thought I have, and I don't know where the thought came from. So, and in a way, I'm a scientist that's like bordering on hippie or something like that.
Janine, you want to ask your question live?
Oh yeah.
Sure, I'll be glad to. Hey Sam, thank you so much for doing this tonight. I really, really appreciate it. I've got some people on this call that probably want to know the question if they haven't gotten their machine yet. Do you prefer the K8 to the SD501? And if so, why do you?
Yeah, I originally I bought the SD501 because I think when I bought the machine, bought my machine, the K had just come out 1 year. And so I'm the type of person that never buys the first generation of anything. So I have like the Prius came out like 20 years ago. I finally got a 2017 Prius, after like whatever, 17 years.
Me too.
And so I wait to see how the longevity of something is before I buy onto it. But now all I recommend to people is the K8, because they've worked out some of the bugs, right? And this is the thing with Japanese engineering. They never revamp the whole thing. They just tinker and make it better and make it better and make it better and make it better, like through generations, right? And that's why I recommend to people is the K8 now.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the K8 is very automated for cleaning and processing and everything. So to people that have trouble keeping the machine clean, the K8 would be the better choice.
Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions, you guys? I think that might be it, huh?
Tracy's saying what bugs in the K8, I assume.
Oh, originally they had the little salt tank, and I think it wasn't sealed right or something, but then the machine wouldn't, you'd have your salt tank in there, and maybe the sensor got corroded by the salt or something, and it wouldn't sense that the tank was in there. And then they re-engineered the little plastic tank to have it filled from the top, not from the side or something like that. Some little minor things like that. And then I think that was the biggest one. But it's what the Japanese do is they take the technology of the SD501 and they improve upon it. They don't revamp the whole thing. They don't revamp the whole machine. So, but it was something minor, and that got resolved. So.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Okay. Yep. All right,
Okay,
guys.
Marilyn's asking, the importance of this project is ? I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, that's his quote that I just read. The importance, I was just typing it into the chat. The importance of this project is necessary for humanity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what would be humanity without water?
Okay, Marilyn, did you get that?
Yeah, she got. Let's.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. And so really, the reason why I am dedicating my life to this project is because I really don't foresee any decade, any century, any millennium that water won't be relevant. You know what I mean? Like I could have stayed in my career in pharmaceutical research, but it was getting to the point where like we have an excess of interventions. Like it's not a shortage anymore. Like we've got so many medical procedures already. I want to avoid all of them. You know, I don't want to partake in any of those. And so I planted my flag with something that was well engineered, that's got all the certifications. It's proven to me. I didn't need to read any research papers to know that this stuff works. But if I did, there's thousands upon thousands of research papers. And then common sense, like, of course I should drink more water. Of course I should quit my soda pop and quit my hamburgers. Of course I should do that. You know, so for me, it became an ownership, and that's why I own my existence. You know, I own this project for myself, right, and my family, and it'll take us to own that for ourselves. And anything we do, we have to own it. You know. Okay.
That is the most perfect statement to, I think, close out. That was just absolutely perfect to sum it all up. Love it.
We have to be human. We're human beings. Okay. So we just have to be the person we want to be. We're human beings. We're not like humans doing. So people is like, hey Sam, are you still doing that Kangen thing? And I'm like, you guys, it's water. It's like who I am. Like I'm literally 70%, 75% water. It's like who I am. You know, I was like, I'm not 75% Starbucks. You know, like I'm literally 75% water. So this is I am. You know what I mean?
I love that too. Everybody's writing these things down, right? That's so good.
So, all right, guys. Yeah, maybe we you know, so maybe we can do this again next month, Lori, or maybe in 2 months, whenever, you know, there's a because I want to help protect the ship. You know, because I know we're getting to a point where we're going to cross some threshold where people are going to just buy these things. But when there's a mass adoption, you're going to get a lot of people excited, and they're going to say things that are not compliant, and that could put the rest of us at risk. And so I want to be able to help the team explain these concepts, you know, whether it's complex words or simple words, but I want to help the team protect the ship, right? And because compliance is you know, we're getting into a point where sometimes the truth is filtered and discriminated against in our society. And so we have to be very careful how we speak, you know, because we certainly cannot lose this project to some error, some mistake. It's profound, the impact that this is going to have on humanity. Okay, guys. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, someone said exclamation point. Yeah.
Yes,
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. You're so appreciated.
Okay. Have a
Everybody
guys.
go ahead and everybody unmute and say their thanks to Sam. Unmute
Thanks,
yourself.
Thank you, Sam. We love you,
Sam.
Guys,
Thank you so
love you
much,
guys.
Sam.
So much
Thank you, Sam.
appreciated.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you from Florida. Appreciate you.
Canada.
My
Thank
dog
you, guys.
thanks you. My dog thanks you. He said thank you for coming water. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you
guys.
for
All right.
coming in, Sam.
All right. Have a good night. We'll talk later. Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, good night.
Thanks, Lori. You're the best.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Of course, I wouldn't have missed it for the world, literally.
Fantastic. Thank you for your great questions. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. You're looking amazing as always.
Thank you, and you too. Right back
Thank
at ya.
It's my
right.
beauty water. That's what it is.
All right, good night, everyone. We'll make the
Good night.
recording available. We will make the recording available.
Okay, and thank you to all my people that were on the call. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. All right, bye-bye.